All right, we're back. Morse Code Podcast, episode 101. Dan Morse, Soapy Priap, Cambodian Prince, viral Cambodian Prince. If you listen to our last episode, and if you have Instagram and have noties turned on for Paul Pierce, then you get that reference. If not,
shout out to the truth.
Shout out to the truth. Truth shall set you free.
Mm-hmm.
Fire nickname alert. That's always been a sneaky good one. The truth.
Really good.
I wonder if that's like is recognized like countrywide outside of like New England. I know like, you know, people know what it is, but I've always wondered that like what's you know, like what we might think is bigger for a hometown team than national. You know what I mean?
I think that's one. Yeah, I think that's one because like I see other players calling him that. So that's how I know, like, all right, like those fans of those other players around the country had definitely heard that. Well, and since it was given to him by Shaq.
I was going to say, Shaq's the one that gave him that nickname. Not that he knows anything about nicknames, but yeah, I remember that. The other one I think of is Marcus Smart. Like, do people outside of Boston realize like how much people love Marcus Smart, like in Boston? Because if you just like look at Marcus Smart's like numbers, I don't really think you would think he's a big deal.
No.
We all know there's certain people on the internet who love Marcus Smart. All sorts of people.
I think last year was his first year getting like not national recognition, actual like recognition. I think it was his first year getting an award.
What do you get?
All defense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Cool.
He's either gotten that once or twice. I can't remember, but like if you're in Boston, you'd think that he's gotten that since like he came into the league
every year of year of his life.
Yeah, possibly before he got into the league.
Yeah. So I don't want to touch on this too much, but we are recording on a Sunday night. Good win. The Nuggets win. I think. I don't know. Important win. Surprising win. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think it's like safe to say the best win of the year.
Definitely. I can't. Yeah.
Good team on the road.
I would think so. When I first saw that on the schedule, like yesterday, an away game, traveling, a Sunday afternoon game out west after a day of traveling, I just chalked that up as a 0% chance. And it certainly started exactly how I envisioned it. But no, it was a solid win, good comeback. I mean, they come back in every game, but this was a comeback win, which puts it in a different level, I think.
Also, anytime a sports team plays in Denver, it sounds like they chalk it up like they're playing in a volcano, like on Mars or something, which I'm sure it is like
tough place to play.
I'm sure it is a tough place to play with the altitude and whatever. I just never experienced it, so I'm going to downplay it and act like it's nothing. But I know it's significant.
It's something. But I don't know.
It is hilarious though. They're always the altitude will get to you. You're gonna feel dehydrated. But then who was the guy? Who's a football player? Was it Ryan Clark? That
who like had to retire
out in Denver.
Yeah.
So it's something.
Yeah, no, football is pretty funny because, well, that's not funny, but like football, it is much more noticeable. Because any like Broncos game, you would see like inevitably you'd see like linemen on the opposing team on the sideline, like on oxygen tanks after like every drive, like looking like they're legit about to pass out dead. And then just praying for like their quarterback to not throw a pick so there's a sudden change so they can literally get their oxygen levels back to normal.
How did anyone on the Broncos with COVID play a game this year?
I don't know. And they did have.
Remember that was the worst game of the year? Like across the NFL, that was. We talked about it for a while. That game where.
Well, it was in New England though. You're talking about Broncos Patriots?
No. It was Broncos someone else where the Broncos played all their like third stringers.
And, yeah.
I think the running back was getting most. Oh no!
I know what you mean. The quarterback, the wide receiver played quarterback because they're very good point. Their quarterback room was they got COVID, so they were all close contact. And
he was practice squad, wasn't he? Whoever they had playing quarterback.
Yeah, he was like a practice squad wide receiver, who just played quarterback.
What an absurd game! And that was where I remember thinking, all right, Melvin Gordon's going to get like a good number of carries.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, the quarterback's not going to throw it all. I think the quarterback did attempt 6 to 8 passes, 2 picks.
Let's see.
Melvin Gordon would like get stuffed every single time that he got the ball, which wasn't that many times, surprisingly.
Hold on here. I think it was this Pittsburgh game.
I think that sounds about right.
Oh boy, I don't know, but yeah, that was interesting. I still don't see. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they do in that situation, but that does suck. Like, what would you do? Like, if your entire, I think we might have talked about this. Like, what if it was like your offensive line, like playroom, and every depth of every offensive lineman couldn't play, and you just had to put skill players at linemen.
Oh my God.
And block like Aaron Donald or TJ Watt like on the edge.
Oh yeah.
I'd consider a forfeit. I mean, you're gonna get people killed. At a minimum injured.
Do you still have that game on your DVR or did you end up erasing?
Probably. No, I don't think I would do that. I'm actually in negotiation to buy the NFT of that game right now. So I was gonna say the whole. I don't want to hike up the price. The full game. Yeah. Actually, no, just the Broncos on offense. Just so I could see those plays. I think he completed a couple. I want to say he went 2 for something.
Yeah, I think it was 2 for 8. Which
I don't think it was a blowout. I think they lost by like 10 or like 6. If you're listening right now, comment below. I'm pretty sure it was the Steelers for some reason. Maybe not. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
And I think that was like right when the Steelers were like they started 8-0, but like everyone was like, yeah, these guys suck. Like I've actually seen them play. That's when they were like competing with teams like the Cowboys. I remember they competed with that game, obviously. The Titans, like a bunch of other games like that. It's honestly kind of like I was saying about the Celtics. Like when we were talking last week, I was like, it's not a great sign when we're playing competitive games against the Hawks, or excuse me, getting excited about competitive games against like the Knicks and the Hawks and the Timberwolves and shit like that. It's dude, like what these shouldn't be the barn burner games.
Yeah, it was. If this is the one, Broncos versus Steelers week 2.
It definitely had to be later than week 2.
Yeah, damn.
It was after they played the Pats. Hold on, I can find it.
Yeah.
While I'm doing this, get some quick housekeeping out of the way. So
sure.
So if you haven't been following, it's actually been a pretty busy week for us. We've been on a few different shows. I know, trying to make sure I don't miss anything. So last week, I know we released this on our platform as well. We were on with Justin and Maddie from the How Can This Be podcast. That was a blast. Excuse me. So you can either
big blast.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
It was. So you can either
TNT.
follow them on their page, which I highly recommend. We did post it on ours as a bonus episode like a couple episodes ago. And of course, we've had Justin on our show a couple times, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of nonsense. A lot of Tom Brenneman, a lot of all sorts of stuff. Check that out. And then between then, Soap, you were on with Kane and Scoob on the Splash Brothers Luncheon, another good close personal friends of the program. That was actually during like your Paul Pierce like press tour.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was when I was fielding questions.
Yep, correct. So make sure you check those guys out. And then most recently, we're on Causeway Street podcast with Joel, Josue, and Shawn, they've been on our show a couple times. Really, really good show if you're a Celtics fan. They're really close to the team. A lot of good insight. And that was a lot of fun. Like I said, I think we recorded with them the Thursday night prior to the T-Wolves game. Which was a ridiculous game. And and then they won today. So they're undefeated since we've been on that show, just saying. But yeah, go back and check those out. Like I said, they're all close friends of our program. So it was cool to get on with them. And again, if you like following our show here, is basically, all the other thing I'll say about all 3 of those shows, they're pretty similar to ours. So check those out. Those are great shows as well.
We should probably throw in the show notes the episode link to Causeway Street.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I can probably do it for all of them. While I'm doing that, I'm pulling up.
I did find it.
Perfect. Okay. We
were close
here.
It was the Saints, and I'll send you the article too. It was Kendall Hinton off of the practice squad. Yeah, wide receiver.
Got you. Off the practice squad. Dang.
Dude, let me listen to this sentence. I forgot about this part.
Great picture. Yeah, go ahead.
After trying and failing to persuade the NFL to allow them to use Rob Calabrese, the offensive quality control coach at quarterback, the Broncos' eventual solution to their personnel crisis was Kendall Hinton, a practice squad wide receiver who had started intermittently at QB for Wake Forest during his collegiate career. His first 5 drives all ended in punts, in which they racked up 31 yards of total offense.
Sounds like a Patriots game.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great. See. Great headline. COVID-19 broke the Denver Broncos by Graham Mackery. Now, it was a weird season, but that was definitely a weird game. And I do remember like that storyline about the coach potentially playing quarterback was so bizarre and would have been so awesome if it happened. That would have like made my season. Just tuning in to see a coach take the field. And I wish he did, and I wish he just fucking cooked those guys or like completed 5 passes. That's all I need. That would have been really cool.
Well, this is a good segue because I just thought of this. It's kind of like if he had somehow gotten in the game, it would have been like when we talked to Tyler I Am about that wrestling documentary a few months back with like The Rock and Mankind, and Mankind just getting the chair 5 or 6 times, and the camera just cutting back and forth to his wife and kids in the crowd, like praying that he would survive.
That like, I think that's what would have happened. Die on live television. Yeah, that was tough. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess. I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they would have put, and I guess this is why they didn't do it probably, but I don't think they would have put the guy in there if there was a real chance like he was going to get killed.
Well, I'm curious, like his age, his size and physique.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to try and get him on.
I was going to say, you should text him.
Yeah, I might think about doing that. Before we shift to more, it is WrestleMania weekend. What else did I miss? Oh, let's reminisce on Friday. Friday was a wild day in life. So it started out with an RIP Bozo alert on Twitter, which is always a good time to kick off the day for Prince Philip, who, you know, RIP Bozo, but who we talked about. I don't know if he had a hand in this. I sure hope we didn't. I'd feel bad. We talked about him like less than a month ago with Justin and him in his old age. He was getting up there. He was a couple months shy of 100.
Yeah.
So that's the saddest part about, you know, someone like that dying young.
We almost had him on for our 100th episode.
100th. Yeah.
I definitely prefer Jimmy Toscano.
Same. So Prince Philip passed away in the morning, and then DMX, like similar guy, similar everything. DMX passed away later that day, which was, I mean, look, they both died. It's both sad, whatever. I really don't know as much about Prince Philip to talk about it. But DMX passing away was a big one. I know it sounded like it was coming for a while. He was in like the hospital or ICU for like a week or something, maybe longer. Yep. Okay. So that was a big one. But I mean, the worst / I'm going to say the best part about it, but one of the results of it was just like some of the stories online and going back and listening to his music and stuff. Like it was pretty cool in that sense. Cause I think I tweeted this or something. It was almost like going in a time machine back to like, I don't know if it was like early high school or college or whenever, like listening to DMX, and it was big for us. I know everyone talks about like his year in 1998. I was like 9 or 10 at the time, so that wasn't as relevant to me. I would say I had just as big of a year, so kind of weird that people. That's true. Well, when you die, we'll talk about your 1998.
Thank you,
but it's not time for that yet. One of the craziest things I saw from this whole thing over the weekend, and I'm sure you've seen it too, were some of those clips from that Woodstock 99 concert. And I know we're a big pro concert show here.
Yeah.
That was absolutely insane. Yeah, like those pictures of just like, I don't even like, I 100% don't think that's ever going to happen again, but just like a sea of people, how crazy that must be to just perform in front of people like that.
That looks so fun. Imagine the, imagine the adrenaline rush as a performer to look out and see, just an ocean of people, fucking jumping up and down. And I don't know much about Woodstock because, again, like we were 9, 10 at the time, and I was performing at a different festival.
I was gonna say you weren't there.
Nah, I was still trying to get the.
I was.
I was
didn't
trying to
have
get
forces,
the wheels rolling on Coachella, but yeah, that just looks like so much fun. And ironically, even though we started out talking about whatever concerts in the beginning of this show, jokingly,
sure did.
I think we kind of are like big. I'm a big fan of concerts.
I know that.
I haven't been to a ton of them, but when I have, they're always a blast.
Very good time. I've only been to a handful. And we've talked about this before back on the early parts of the show. Yeah, I know you've been to more than I have. You've definitely been to more during the pandemic than I have. That was honestly a little troubling. That's for our real like ride or die listeners from the beginning.
That Garth Brooks show was worth it. So
I guess so, buddy. That's not a bad segue to something else I was going to mention. But what was I going to say? Any thoughts on you from the weekend with DMX and Prince Philip or anything?
It just seems like all the stories about him, like that he was a cool guy. I saw so many either anecdotes or actual video and photo clips of people just talking about how good of a guy he was and how down to earth he was. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have like whatever. If you look far enough, I think everyone's got some negatives about. I'm not going to get into.
Obviously.
There were, I think, the one coolest video that I saw was him, definitely out of his prime, but someone in like Texas happened to pull up to a strip mall where they saw him, and the lady was just like, before she had even parked the car, she was yelling his name and basically yelling at him to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm fucking seeing DMX. Hops out of the car, takes a bunch of pictures with him, and he couldn't have been like nicer and cooler the whole time. And then that clip of him at the Celtics game, which wasn't more than a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, he used to be he did rehab in Nashua for I don't know how long. It was a good amount of time where at some point he went to a Celtics game, just take a load off, and they spotted him during the game. And I don't remember which song it was that they played, but they played it. Crowd went fucking nuts, and then they put him on the jumbotron, and he was definitely enjoying it. So
I think it was cool to have people anthem. I think I just saw that like today. Actually, I assume that's what it was. But yeah, that was cool. Yeah, and then speaking of Woodstock and like sold out crowds, I think the other thing that's been circulating since the last time we get on, and this can transition into WrestleMania weekend. It's weird seeing full capacity stadiums, or maybe it's just stadium as in Texas Rangers. But from the few clips I've seen of WrestleMania in Tampa, that looked pretty full too.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because like there were sections where it didn't look like there was any space between people. And then I thought I saw one section where it was a little more dispersed, but either way, there's a shitload of people.
Yeah,
and that was a football stadium.
Even like the Rangers game, it's like I had a theory that was totally proved false, but even I thought like it's open capacity. Yes, we can sell out the stadium. I really didn't think it would. But then I realized like it's fucking Texas and I'm an idiot. So it did sell out. And I think at first it didn't look as bad. Like obviously, and again, I don't even know how they mandate the masks there. It's like, you probably have to wear it when you pass the security guard, when you walk in. But then clips I've seen, it looks like you can pretty much just do whatever you want. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't want to get into a huge thing about that. It's probably not a great look overall, but it just looks weird to like see that again.
Looks really weird. I haven't seen the highlights of the game, which I wanted to because I wanted to hear like what's a full crowd sound like again.
Right.
I was curious, but yeah, interesting optic. I saw some tweets saying plenty of people wearing masks, but also plenty of people not wearing masks.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Everything's just bigger
weird
in Texas, including the masks, is what I
True. I'm sure they are. That's a good point. They might have like 2-for-1 specials and stuff like that, where you just like stretch it like across seat to seat.
Yeah, the discounts are bigger in Texas as well.
Sure are. I just think it's so weird how it's so different, like literally by a state line. Like Boston is like 12%. And I've come around to this too. It's still definitely better than nothing. Like the Red Sox games with limited fans, even the Celtics games. I think you touched on this on one of the shows we were on. You can definitely tell fans are there, whether it's only a few thousand people. But But no, it's cool. I mean, we're starting to move along with the vaccines and stuff. So I'm looking forward to hopefully a somewhat normal summer. And we'll just go from there. But we'll transition a little bit into WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania weekend. We do talk some wrestling on this show. I haven't watched the second of it. I think we both admittedly don't really follow current wrestling, which is fine. I know we have some listeners and some fans who do. I also don't have Peacock Network. So even if I wanted to, couldn't watch it. Well, I'd have to buy Peacock. I just can't bring myself to buying another streaming platform quite yet.
Not a huge
Paramount
fan of
was
that
kind of
bird.
dope too. Nah. Do you have Paramount
More of a pigeon
Plus?
guy, right?
Do you have Paramount Plus?
I don't. I do have Peacock, so you can use.
Oh, you do?
If you like. Yeah.
Oh, put those in the show notes. Yeah, I'd like to do that,
All right.
please. But no, that's Paramount Plus actually sounds pretty dope. I know they had some Masters coverage. And again, I don't understand how like every different one of these networks just carries 100 random things.
Yeah.
Like Paramount has, like I said, they have some sports coverage. I saw they have old Nickelodeon shows. They have like a bunch of other random shit. Peacock has WW Network in The Office, like just very strange. Even Disney Plus now, like Disney Plus has all the new Marvel shows. The Disney
Peacock
movies.
also, I could be wrong. I saw this somewhere, but they have they're putting on like old seasons of the Weather Channel, which I'm really excited.
Oh,
for. That's a rumor, so it's not confirmed for anyone who's jumping the gun on that.
How much is it a month? I might have to pull the trigger on that one.
I think it's $10. I mainly got it for The Office, and it also gives you access to like I watch another show that was on another random ass network that then Peacock got. So yeah, how does that? Well, I guess you wouldn't know. I think they put on WrestleMania the next day for free after it's been on pay-per-view.
For free where? No, if you buy Peacock, you can watch WrestleMania. It's not pay-per-view anymore.
Oh, they
like WWE Network, like you paid $10 a month for WWE Network, and that included the pay-per-view. Like that was live on WWE Network. So you can go on Peacock TV and watch WrestleMania right now. What?
So now WWE Network is just part of Peacock, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Because like when you logged into
pay for pay-per-view to get interesting.
Like they're really not even pay-per-views anymore. I think the only way you can watch it is on WWE Network. Because when I had WWE Network, like when you log in, obviously there's tons of stuff archived, which is really the best part. But there's also like whatever's on live at the time. And when it was like quote unquote pay-per-view events, that's what would be on. I'll probably get it. Cause like I said, WWE Network is awesome. Like I said, mostly for the archive stuff. They have all the Raws, all the Nitros, all the old pay-per-views, great documentaries. A lot of really cool, like exclusive shit. So I'm just going to fucking do it tonight. I'll probably just buy it.
I did see they had to censor. They had to go back and like erase 75% or something.
That's hilarious.
No, they didn't give a number, but they were just like, we got to go back and make sure we get out all the super borderline sensitive stuff.
Things. Yeah. And I saw that on Twitter, and that's hilarious. Like the first time it came out, it was something like WWE Network has an intern scrubbing through some old episodes of Raw to censor any racial or like sexually sensitive like subjects. And it's like, all right, you can pretty much just erase 1998 and 1999 like clear off the book, because like those are pretty much gone on a nightly basis.
I was gonna say, if you like listening to Prime Eminem censored, you'll probably enjoy the WWE Network as well.
Because then the best part was like that post would just lead to a thread of like all the shit they would have to go back and erase. Like pretty much anything to do with Val Venus, anything to do with Mark Henry and Mae Young's relationship. Probably anything to do with the DX and Nation of Domination rivalry. Including they came out in blackface to impersonate Nation of Domination.
Forgot about that.
What else? Probably a lot of stuff like that. I'd like to pay extra to watch everything they do scrub from the WWE Network, because that's probably the craziest shit. They like there was legit nudity. Like I remember on one pay-per-view, what was it? I think it was like Sable and someone. Well, there's one pay-per-view when Sable, like it built up the whole thing, and then Sable like ripped her robe off, and all she had was like like the finger, like a hand mark over her breasts. And that was like crazy. Because again, we were like 8 years old. And I think there was one woman was legit nude, I'm pretty sure. I think it was Jacqueline. Honestly, if Dan Bolio's watching, he can probably let us know. But anyway, there was some crazy shit on that back in the day for a program on cable at 9 p.m. on a Monday. Put it that way. But
I saw something random really quick.
What? Good.
Saw an announcement from, I think it was Jimmy Stewart. It was a some sort of program announcement about the Raw in general, and it said that Adnan Virk, or do you remember him at all from ESPN? So he used to do Sports Center.
Yeah.
And then I think he went to the MLB Network for a while. I guess he's now going to be calling Raw primarily. So I just thought it's hilarious because I know Jonathan Coachman has gone the other way.
Yep.
And dude, Jonathan Coachman now calls golf. The last.
Wait, what do you mean went the other? He went from wrestling to ESPN.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. I thought it was the other way too, but yeah, you're right.
Although that's even crazier because Coach was a character in wrestling. He wasn't like just. I mean, he was he was an announcer.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, he had like he had roles like during the.
But that is hilarious. Imagine being this guy, Adnan Virk, like putting it on your resume. Like I was on Sports Center the night that Kobe scored 81, and then I did Raw the night that, like, I don't know,
Mae Young got tombstone through a table.
So if you want to hear my career highlights, just let me know.
So, to answer your question, yes, I think I do have some range in the industry, and I'd be comfortable hitting a number of different things.
Yes,
that is pretty cool. What was I gonna say? Anyway, I said just get into it. So, one of our more controversial segments, speaking of controversy, we've had was our latest draft when we drafted Hamburg and how to best use it in a dish. I know there was some confusion on both of our sides of what actually are the rules in a draft. So we're going to do a quick WrestleMania edition, kind of. We're going to focus it more towards wrestling. So I want to make sure
you explain the rules to me, just for me and the crowd.
Yep. If you continue to let me speak, I was just about to do that.
Okay.
So I'm just going to continue like you never interrupted me in the first place. So here are the rules, so we're on the same page. It is a draft. So one person goes, the other person goes, and back and forth. Once a name is taken off the board, you can't choose it. And if you remember, that's how drafts work. Not everyone can choose Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, yeah, this was the technicality that I did not get the last time.
Boy. Yeah. And I also want to lay out the rules. So again, there's going to be I'm not naming any names, but there's probably going to be a bunch of wrestling nerds in our DMs showing us the algorithm on championships and big matches and wins. This is just simply the coolest wrestlers. Have at it as you will. Cool guys in wrestling. And for me, and I'm sure you too, it's pretty much everyone prior to like 2005, maybe even like before that. I don't really fuck with too many of the new guys. Not to give too much of my strategy, but I really don't.
Yeah, cool is definitely going to be open to interpretation, I think, when people hear some of my guys. But
oh boy, okay. Speaking of that, did you listen to the latest Fun Report when Tyler was talking about Hulk Hogan or like his dream match at WrestleMania? No. Have you listened? I'm not gonna say anything then. Super funny segment. Someone asked him like, "What's your ideal WrestleMania event? Like, who would you face? Where would it be? And like, what type of match?" Yeah, pretty funny response, but. I'm going to do this too. Since there was some controversy last time, I'm going to keep track of these too. I'm going to give you the first pick. We're going to do it like last time. I'm going to run through this. We can clip it, post it, and then I'll clip the results and just put a simple poll up online. People can vote. And you just got to live with the results.
Got it.
Are we doing 5 or 10?
Let's do 5.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Unless you want to do 10, of course.
Let's see where we're at 5.
Okay.
Good. Number one pick, coolest wrestler.
First one is actually an honest answer. I think you know I'm going to say this, but Bret Hart is my first one.
Good take. He was on my big board.
Great technical wrestler. Arguably one of maybe the best of all time. I know that people.
Oh boy, your mentions are going to blow up. If you put that on the record.
great aesthetic between the black and pink uniform, which he's rotated between like all pink, all black, black with some accents of pink.
What do you like the best?
Huh?
What do you like the best?
I think the all pink is pretty
I'm
strong.
gonna say all pink is fire.
Yeah.
Big time. Pretty rare, but it was dope. The all pink, like, I don't know, onesie or whatever you want to call it, was sick with like the white boots. I think the shades made it too. His entrances were so fire. The shades, the jacket, the theme song,
the walk, the tassels off the shoulders.
Yep, good call.
Was the all pink, was that Breast Cancer Awareness Month and he just forgot? He just forgot to take it off?
It could have been. I don't know if it was in October, like the NFL does. I don't know.
And then a great finishing move, and I also like his boots.
Yeah, boots were nice. Boots were really good, and
those boots
I think that's a good pick. I think you owe it to that family to to make that pick early on. It's, honest to God, the least you can do. So that being said, I'll take Owen Hart. No, it's playing. All right, that's a good one. I don't know if I want to take this guy first, but I'm just afraid you might take him later. So this one might be sneaky, but I'm taking Razor Ramon off the board, number 1.
Interesting.
Razor Ramon, I think, is about as, in my book, close to as cool as it gets. And I'm talking Razor Ramon, not Scott Hall in WCW. So Scott Hall's character in WCW. So just 10 gold chains, toothpick, greasy hair, really like underrated ring attire too. Like, I know he just had the tights with like the razors on them, but he had some fire colors. He had like some pink, some purple, some green, some whatever it was. It looked sick. Great on the mic, great with drugs and alcohol, and had big matches too. He had one of the bigger matches of my time was his ladder match with HBK at WrestleMania 10. That was classic. And then once he went over to WCW with Scott Hall and NWO, that was a great character, but I'm taking Razor off the board at number 1.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good pick. Great. Two great aesthetics so far.
Definitely. I mean, they're cool wrestlers. Like, obviously aesthetics is probably one of the biggest parts of it.
Yeah. Okay. My second pick is I'm gonna go with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Another cool looking guy.
On the board. Yep.
Pretty funny entrance. The ladies lusted for him. That's why they called him the Heartbreak Kid.
So you mean like sexy boy Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, yeah.
Mid-90s. Okay.
Yeah.
Including DX Shawn Michaels or strictly the sexy
I didn't really care for that Shawn Michaels as much. I always think of Shawn Michaels with the mullet as opposed to the hair tied behind his head.
Totally. Yeah, yeah.
And then also like the red pants, the absurd jackets. Because once he went to DX, all they wore was like black cutoffs, right?
Right, pretty much. Yeah, he had a lot more flair when he was like early 90s, like Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. Definitely. He had the pyro in the ring.
Yeah, the pyro in the ring is strong because he'd always do it when he flexed.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah.
Yep. I did like pretty much like towards the end before he had his big injury when he lost to Stone Cold. That was like the Mike Tyson DX storyline. That was a sick storyline. But yeah, mid-90s. He had a couple coming in off the not to keep going back to this, but coming in off the thing from the sky. The
yes.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah. That was a sick entrance. But yeah, he was cool. That's a good one. He was on my big board. I'll have to take him off. But let's see.
Any relation to Bret Michaels?
Twin brother.
And also he's the granddaughter of Al Michaels.
No, that's not true.
Oh, I gotta fact check that. Sorry.
You definitely gotta check that. Someone must have altered the Wikipedia page before you logged on. Damn, I'm only doing 5. This is tough. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna switch brands for a second. I'm gonna go Booker T, Harlem Heat Booker T, WCW Harlem Heat Booker T, for sure. Harlem Heat was a very cool tag team, and this is really like I've always been WWF over WCW, but there was a short time, like really during like when the Monday Night Wars were at their peak, when it was like a toss up. Like I could argue both sides pretty evenly. And Booker T was the shit back then. I didn't love him as much when he came over to WWF afterwards, WWE. It was like he had like the King Booker role, and like again, that's like really when I fell off from watching it. But yeah, give me a good Harlem Heat Booker T. Great on the mic, great in the ring. Great tag team with his brother Stevie Ray. Great entrance music. And overall, it's just a cool guy.
What was when he came over to the WWE? What was like the biggest? Who was the biggest beef that he had? Was it The Rock?
I wouldn't know. I don't really know too much about when he first came over.
I'm just curious. Well,
he had that very infamous. Oh no, that wasn't him. I'm thinking of that very.
I think that was him. If we're thinking of the same thing,
with Vince McMahon and John Cena. Or was it Booker T? It couldn't have been Booker T.
Yeah, no.
He would not have said that to Booker T, I don't think.
I'm thinking of when Booker T said it, and I don't think he meant
to. That's a good one. You should like, okay, so there's a clip that's gone around when Vince McMahon says it to John Cena.
That's crazy.
Like a joke. You never seen that?
I think I have.
Oh,
very believable.
Yeah. Booker, I know exactly what you're talking about with Booker T too, though. And again, like I said, great on the mic. Like he's hard to stick to his script. But yeah, give me Booker T round 2. Now we're on to your pick, round 3.
Okay. I'm going to go with. I mean, these are such iconic guys. I have to.
I know.
I'm going to take Undertaker.
Yeah, that's fine. I was staying away from some of the bigger names. Oh, Undertaker, yeah. Yeah, he's cool.
But early Undertaker.
Yeah, I was going to ask
American
you what
badass.
stage. Nah, fuck that. Like first edition Undertaker?
Yeah, not even the Ministry Undertaker. First edition.
Right. The suit, the hat, pallbearer,
purple socks,
the gloves. Yeah, that was a dope Undertaker. Very freak athlete too. Like for someone who was consistently 7'2", 300 plus pounds, like he could move around. And that's the crazy thing about wrestling. Like these guys, we compare them to like traditional pro athletes. But these guys basically wrestle and have a game like 300 nights a year. That's like the craziest part. And then you wonder why half of them die off opioids and like painkillers. But like, it's such a crazy lifestyle. Like I genuinely don't know how you have a family and be a pro wrestler. It just seems nearly impossible.
That's why I got out of it.
Right. Which is probably why all these guys have documentaries about them losing their family.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Jake the Snake.
Undertaker underrated is his eyeballs.
Very flexible.
Never understood how was he able to do that?
It's not good for you. That's like what everyone's parents told them whose kids watch wrestling, who tried to do it like at the fucking dinner table.
Wait, seriously?
You never tried to do that?
Not until like recently. Seriously.
Oh no. Every kid I knew who watched wrestling tried to do that pretty much multiple times a day.
All the time at school.
And then eventually one kid just got stuck, and you could go. That's what my parents tell me. Like they're going to get stuck and you're going to go blind. And I was like, well, worth it, but okay. Okay. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I like a few different stages in Undertaker. I will say that I think that might be my favorite. I did like right before the Ministry, like the early like Kane and Undertaker rivalry. Undertaker was good. Really good actually. That might be the one. That was like, as far as like storylines go, that's up there at the peak. Like when the Kane and Undertaker first got rolling.
I believed it for a long time.
I've believed it for a very long time, up until probably this podcast, when I actually talked it out loud and realized it's probably not true. Up until when Kane ran for mayor of Minnesota or wherever he is. Where is he the mayor? It's not Minnesota, is it?
I think so.
Because wasn't Jesse Ventura also the mayor of Minnesota?
Oh, wait.
I think Kane was somewhere else.
Well, governor.
Governor. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, then yeah. So a lot of wrestling politicians in Minnesota.
If Undertaker runs for office,
Oh,
as it relates to like death somehow, if there's like a death mayor or
the Ministry of Defense.
oh yes,
Sounds like a legit thing.
then we might have to reconsider maybe they are brothers.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. The wrestling one was the Ministry of Darkness. The Ministry of Defense is an actual thing, an actual branch of government. No.
I know it exists in Harry Potter.
So yes.
Yes.
Cool. No, Ministry of Darkness was dope too. Damn, now I kind of want to take Kane. Maybe I'll treat this as like an honorable mention, but early edition Kane was sick too. Mm-hmm. Before they totally ruined his character and took his mask off and just made him like a real person. That might have been like the coolest. I think at a time that he was the coolest character in wrestling for maybe a short period of time. But when he didn't talk, he was all mystery, full uniform, the mask, the fire. Like when he would there was a brief period of time where he would just come out in the middle of everyone's match and just choke slam everyone in the ring and then leave. When he was rolling with Paul Bearer, that was a good time. Paul Bearer's honorable mention too.
Mm-hmm. Great like side character accomplice.
Great sidekick, dude. Like, and it looks so great along with those guys because he looked short, but I bet he was actually average height. He was just always around a 7'4" counterpart. Paul Bear is like, that's the ultimate intimidation. Like, imagine being a new wrestler and your first match is like with Kane and Undertaker. And you just have Paul Bearer circling the ring, holding an urn, like showing it like up to you. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in. I don't know. That's a tough look.
You know, it'd be funny if they never like suspended kayfabe, and those guys actually did hang out outside of wrestling. So I picture like Undertaker riding his motorcycle, and then in the little side cart is just Paul Bearer. Also,
oh yeah,
whatever they call those things. That'd be hilarious. Which you'll see like motorcyclists who really love their dog. They'll like strap a helmet to their dog and put him on the little side cart.
Great photos. Yeah,
I could definitely see Paul Bearer doing that. Like just a quick trip to, I don't know, fucking pharmacy to get a bottle of Tylenol. But also the Kane entrance was fire. And also
big time fire.
It was a fire entrance.
it was, yeah. A lot of fire around that guy. Great.
I just love how it started out dark and then the flames.
It was so cool. Yeah, he's up there. But for my formal pick, I'm gonna go off the radar a little bit here. I'm gonna go D'Lo Brown. I think we got to get this guy off the board. I know he's one of Tyler's favorites. D'Lo Brown was so cool. He was such a cool like mid-card wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Cool with the nation, but once he kind of like branched out on his own a little bit, definitely had some pep in his step. And really carried his own. He was a good technical wrestler. He had some big matchups. But I'll take D'Lo off the board round 3. So now you got round 4. Oh, go ahead.
Was he the one that was in the documentary? And I don't remember if it's the one that we both watched. But he was talking about how there were times where he would legitimately try to kill someone because like that's how unhinged he was.
Oh, that was New Jack, right?
Oh, it was New Jack. Okay.
New Jack's New Jack is not cool. He's legit crazy. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point too. I don't know if you saw the trailer. The new Dark Side of the Ring season is coming out soon too.
Where is that playing
looks
again?
Incredible. It's on like Vice TV or YouTube pretty much. That show is so goddamn good.
Do I need a smartphone to be able to watch that?
If you want to watch it on your phone, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But I already know you have one, so
oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Go ahead. Round 4.
Yeah, round 4. Yeah, this is where we get to some of my favorites. Definitely Gold Dust.
Okay, great pick.
I'm definitely throwing old
Goldie balls.
Yeah, just a weird guy, a very weird
Gold
guy.
Sack.
Yes, he did have a accomplice himself. What was his young lady's name?
Well, he had Luna Vachon for a little bit, and he had Terry Runnels, who was his wife. I assume that's one of the two you're talking about. Luna Vachon was like the crazy one.
Luna Vachon. Was she attractive? I don't remember
No,
what she looked
no,
like.
she looked like a bulldog.
Wow. Okay. I'm asking this because I didn't know what she looks like. I'm pretty like that name translated to French is
Pull it up. Share the screen.
moon pig.
Pull up Luna Vachon.
So, okay, let's see.
Sweet. Shout out Bobby Manning, by the way, for helping us discover this technology.
Oh yeah.
I don't think our videos have been pulled from YouTube, have they? Since you started doing this?
One of them has a little copyright warning next to it.
Damn. The Syracuse play?
Yeah.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. But I mean, if you're listening, you know who Luna Vachon is. I assume that's who you're talking about.
I'll put the picture up to the screen at least.
They hit us with a copyright warning. Ooh, that's not a great picture. Google Luna Vachon like 1998.
Is that her prime?
I think so.
That's when she got her 6th ring as well.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy.
Let me see.
Damn, she is scary. Just threatening.
Is that what I'm talking about? Hold on. Because what Goldust is Goldust actually is a very like good written character, very well written character. Goldust WWE. I think he was like a failed Hollywood like star, right?
Yeah. So
was he a failed adult
Academy
star?
Award.
That's right. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Terry Reynolds was his wife.
Damn, Goldust is still wrestling?
Yeah, I think he's in like AEW or something like that. Because his son Cody Rhodes is pretty big.
So he's part of the Rhodes family that I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes is his dad.
Okay.
Who I believe is dead. Yeah, he died somewhat recently. He died in 2015. But yeah, that's wrestling royalty, the family. But yeah, Goldust is cool. Then there was a couple weird stages of Goldust. I don't know what one you're talking about, but there was this like in the Attitude Era, he was like a cross dresser and would just wear like weird things. He'd wear like bras and that's like Google Goldust WrestleMania 14.
Okay.
That's the weird one I picture. And I think we talked about this with either the Bolios or Jad or someone, but he changed his music was just like loud noises and like sirens and alerts. And he'd wear like bras and makeup and like fishnet pants. I think he shaved his head.
All right. Yeah, you're making all the good points for me, I guess.
Let me see.
Let's see. It kind of cuts off, but I'm pretty sure that's a bra that I'm looking at.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly the picture I was envisioning. He would just wear weird shit like that. So who knows? I mean, he might have had some stuff going on mentally, or most likely Vince was just like in a weird mood and said, "Fuck it, like this is what you're gonna do now, and if you don't like it, you can walk."
It is a pretty much character.
It is, sure. And hey, if you like I said, we're keeping cool, pretty open definition. So if that's what you think's cool, then very cool. We'll have to see what the fans think.
What was the Shattered Dreams? I know that's the name of his finishing move, but what
he would
was
just
that?
Wind up and kick you in the nuts.
Oh, that would shatter some dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Fire name alert.
It would shatter any dreams you have of having children. Big time. I think that's what they named it after. Two left. Mother effer. The only reason I wrote Goldust on my list is just so I would save me some time for when you pick them. So let's see. Gold. Autocorrected to goldfish. That's fine. I'll figure it out. So it'll be 4. I got 2 left. Damn, there's some people in here I want to say. I'm gonna do this. I'll go off the rails a little bit too for my last ones. You know what? Give me Doink the Clown, man. I'll take Doink the Clown. Early 90s, OG Doink. Before he got too scary. I'll say this. It actually was Dan Bolio posted a video the other day on Facebook about like Doink the Clown's origin story and his debut. I forgot all about it. Like, really cool story. Like, they basically had him come out as like you didn't know who he was, and he would just come out and like watch matches from like the front row or like by the ring, and like would pull like pranks on like big wrestlers, like squirt them with his flour or like trip them by the feet, and people were just like, "Ooh, like who the hell is this guy?" And then once he actually got into wrestling, like actual matches, he had big matches. He was in WrestleMania and all those. Obviously, a great outfit, great music, great gimmick. And then really reached his peak when he started having the dink midget clowns who would wrestle with him. Certainly couldn't do that today. But there was just something about being a 5-year-old kid watching Saturday morning wrestling with Doink the Clown and a bunch of midgets called the Dinks running out with them, and they would cause all sort of chaos. Speaking of like intimidation, like with Paul Bearer walking around with a fucking urn, wrestling Doink while you have 6 or 7 midgets, 6 or 7 clown midgets like circling the ring, just like I said, tripping your feet, tying your shoes together, just like pulling pranks. That's terrifying.
Crazy that works in like a combative sport, that these little like Home Alone type tricks.
Very pesky little guys. And hey, say what you want about wrestling, but if the ref doesn't see it, he can't call it. And boy, did they miss a lot of calls.
They exploited that one because they just made sure the ref didn't see shit.
We should have asked Dean Blandino about that, like the similarities between NFL officiating and WWE officiating. That's honestly the best part of like growing up as a kid watching wrestling before you really bought into like how fake it was. Like just getting so mad at the refs. Like, remember like getting so mad at refs for like not seeing something and like having like the bad guy win? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that would piss me off. Like China distracting the ref while Triple H would like pull out brass knuckles and like knock you out cold. And the ref would just have no idea. Or, you know what I mean? Like your tag team partner distracting the ref and China just coming up behind you and wind up and nailing you in the nuts and then just fall down 1, 2, 3. Oh, that really drove me up a wall. It's like 6, 7, 8-year-old Danny did not like that. Oh, I'd get so upset.
Yeah, if you think it's frustrating to watch an NBA game and those refs, you don't know frustration.
You don't know officiating. Mm-mm. I'm sorry. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's wrap this up with round 5. What do you got?
All right. I'm trying to decide here.
Let's see.
I'm gonna say.
I mean, there's a big one neither of us have said, but I don't know if he's too mainstream to put on the list.
Yeah. I just
take him off. You know. Like Peak Rock is pretty much the coolest guy on earth anyway.
Yep.
Okay.
That's kind of assumed.
Yeah, that's kind of an insult to put him on a list like this.
I'm gonna go with the Honky Tonk Man.
Nice.
Obviously, from the name, he was just like an Elvis impersonator, and I think it's
kind of a weak character. Like, I'm sorry.
He was just bashing people over the head with his guitar. With his guitar finisher. Yeah.
And I don't know. I know Vince wasn't paying for those guitars, so that seems like a kind of a, I don't know, unnecessary expense if you have to buy a guitar weekly.
Yeah.
Unless you know a really good guitar repairman.
He was the original Guitar Hero.
Sure was. My Guitar Hero. Still is, actually. Do you know Jeff Jarrett, Double J?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like just a Honky Tonk knockoff afterwards. So if you thought Honky Tonk Man character was weak, Jeff Jarrett was a knockoff of an already weak character.
Did you say you weren't sure if he was, like, should we not even call him an Elvis impersonator? Because do we know?
Like if that was the actual gimmick?
No, I'm saying lose like the word impersonator. Yeah, how do we know?
I mean, based on the fact that Elvis died probably like 20 years prior to that, I don't know. When did Elvis die? I bet that's another weird one when I bet he died a lot more recently than I would guess.
Okay, well, according to the lamestream media that you apparently pay attention to, he died in 1977. But
okay,
yeah, if you're like me, right, who questions people's motives, I'm not sure.
To this day, I don't know if I think we've talked about this, but probably not on the show. To this day, one of the weirdest phenomenons in my life is when Pablo Picasso died.
Oh my God!
We've talked about that, right? Or like we're in a mutual understanding.
Yeah, that's mind blowing.
Like the 60s or like the 40s or something, the 80s,
early 70s. I want to say like 72. Because I think we're thinking of the same thing. The fact that he crossed over with Elvis and like could have heard mainstream Elvis hits.
Yeah, he died in 1973. He was
Yeah, so
born
he saw like the Celtics at their peak.
he saw Wilt. He might have seen early Kareem.
Yeah, early Kareem for sure.
Good
He's
grief.
probably sitting front row at UCLA for like Bill Walton and Kareem.
He was born in 1881.
Damn,
He lived in
someone
the
from that
18
age
he
living to
lived in the
92.
1800. This like when you're born, he was born in a very like granted he was only 90 something, 96 or something. He lived in the 1800s for 20 years and then died in the 70s. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like even like talking about Prince Philip who was 99, he was born in 1921. Just out of the womb after women were allowed to vote in America. Great Depression hit that.
He's probably pissed about that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Hit Great Depression in grade school. A couple of world wars.
Yeah. World War II during college.
Good grief. Cold War. 70s. The 86 Celtics. Jordan. Desert Storm. Crack. Space Jam.
Y2K.
Y2K. 9/11. The 2008 housing crisis.
I was about
2012.
to say the 2008 Celtics and the
2008
18-1
Celtics.
Pats.
Yeah. COVID.
Mm-hmm. He didn't.
Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
Open heart surgery. Geez Louis. Smartphones. What a freaking life. Elvis.
Damn.
Picasso.
I don't understand how Picasso made it to 92 years old. Like he didn't have the benefit of what I consider modern day like technology, science, nutrition.
I think if you were born in the 1800s, I think like seeing 1950 would be a win.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he was through some shit. But again, the reason I bring it up is before I looked that up, if you asked me like when I probably would have ventured he was like an artist in like the Renaissance period or something like that. Like I thought he was hand in hand with like Leonardo and Michelangelo and the rest of those guys. But
DiCaprio or regular guy?
Either one. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm not picky. Anyway, so there's our Pablo Picasso deep dive for the evening. And I'll wrap up here. I'll go, this is tough. I'm going to go Mr. Perfect for 5. He might be the coolest one on this list. If you actually do a little research on Kurt Hennig, who is dead. Fuck, dude, he was so cool. That's a great character. Like sometimes WWF around that time did get pretty oversaturated with like crazy characters, but they did hit home runs with a few. Like you could tell they had some in the, like Vince had him in the meeting room. Like this is a home run. Mr. Perfect was great. Bret Hart was a home run. Hulk Hogan, obviously for like the kids, The Rock, The Undertaker, Kane, like those are home run characters. Mr. Perfect was awesome. Like his whole story of just being like the perfect athlete. And I think I've sent you this. I might even put it in the show notes. Like that YouTube montage of all this stuff is so good. Throwing like a football pass to himself, bowling a 300. Just hit. I think he was just like at a little league field hitting home runs. Probably playing tennis, swimming, diving. And then, like I said, I watched wrestling my entire childhood. Every night, like clockwork, he would spit his gum out and just knock it into the crowd. Never missed. Would flip his towel up over his back and catch it. Very cool guy. Great wrestler too.
Another great look
between
the teal suit and the blonde like Goldilocks Jerry curl. If you
Jerry
call
curl
it that.
hair, pretty much. A lot of grease in the 90s in WWF. A lot of wet rings in between matches.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say he always looks sweaty as fuck.
Mm-hmm. I remember I was looking at this the other day. There's a match. I think it's WrestleMania 13. One of the better matches of all time. It was the match before the main event. It was Bret Hart and Stone Cold in a submission match. I don't know if you've seen it, but like that's the classic match where like Stone Cold's in like a sharpshooter and it's just like his face is completely like red in blood.
Yeah.
And it was all over the ring. And then they had to do that next match. And these guys just had a full-on match with a canvas just soaked in blood. And probably wasn't very sanitary, but looked sick. I don't know. Looked really cool. All right. So I think that's it. Any honorable mention or anyone else you want to talk about? The only one that I had was I did want to give Shane McMahon an honorable mention. He is what a crazy life for Shane McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
Like you grow up just the son of like a Fortune 100 company billionaire CEO. And then eventually like he must have had a talk with Shane. Like this is a family business. We need to start throwing you off a hell.
Yeah. Do you want to start picking up your slack or what?
Like in his like Q4 like meeting in like 1996, it's like, all right, like, you know, we really want to see you start asserting yourself in a leadership role here. So we're going to have you wrestle the Undertaker at Royal Rumble. And, you know, we'll see how the fans react to it. And I'm sure it was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not a professional wrestler. We're gonna have Mick Foley handcuff you to a turntable and bash you over the head with a steel chair. You know, we've got to keep up with WCW, and it's all hands on deck.
Mm-hmm.
And Linda, we're gonna need you to take a couple stunners here and there. Oh, and Stephanie, we're gonna write an angle where Triple H date rapes you and then marries you at a drive-through Las Vegas wedding, and that's just your husband to this day. So, All right, McMahon family on 3.
Yeah, they just stamp it like a fucking judge hitting the gavel.
But I will say, hey, you know what, like a cliche in business is, or like from leadership, like I'm never gonna ask something of my people that I'm not willing to do myself. Vince pretty much did everything he could have, as far as like he took his licks.
Yeah, the owner of the restaurant coming out and serving the food to you, 100%, cooks it, serves it, fucking busts your table.
Yep.
Yeah, Vince McMahon, epitome of leadership.
That is just like you don't see it nowadays. Everything's, you know, all these angel investors and hands-off approach.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see a guy roll up his sleeves and face Stone Cold Steve Austin in a cage match on national television at 50 years old. And he took steroids just like the rest of them. That's one of the craziest angles in wrestling. How fucking big Vince McMahon got, dude. He didn't even look like a human. Because like that was like what, like 98, 99 when he was like at his peak, like legit wrestling Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was a ringside commentator 2 or 3 years before that.
That was also another weird angle.
It was. Good point. He got very big very quickly, but that's a very good point. That would be like Roger Goodell calling Thursday Night Football with Chris Collinsworth, or Adam Silver calling Thursday night NBA matchups.
Yeah.
Oh, you just don't see it anymore.
Adam Silver and Kevin Harlan calling Lakers Heat.
Oh, one of the best parts of Shane McMahon wrestling is I'm pretty sure I saw this clip. He just did it again last night. He had another Hell in a Cell match last night and got thrown off the top of it by a freak elite athlete. But the best are like Shane. This is like Shane. This has to be like his written like go-to thing now. He'll go to the top of the cage and they'll zoom in on him, just like praying to himself and then just jumping off into a table. And it's like, oh my God, like, what are we doing? And I said this in like our group chat with those guys afterwards. Like, I honestly think it is getting a little oversat. Like, how many times can you just throw someone off a cage, you know, after like the first like handful of them in like the 90s? But I think they're going to squeeze that fruit until they get every last drop out of it, or until Shane just one day just doesn't get up from one of those Hell in a Cell drops.
That's like when people say that the NBA is like, why do we even play the regular season? We know who's going to get to the finals. We know Shane O'Mac's.
We know Shane's going through Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
We know these things.
But we still watch.
Just like in the Monday Night Wars. Look, we know if the McMahon family's in the ring, you're gonna hear some glass shatter, and you're gonna see a round of stunners before we go into commercial break. And like we joked about it earlier, but those storylines with Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah, like those were literally 80-year-old women. I don't care how safe you can make it, how fake the tables are. They were having the Dudley Boys pile drive these 80-year-old women through tables, like off of the ramp. Like, do you know that clip I'm talking about? It happened on Raw.
Yeah.
Mae Young came out in a neck. I don't know how you fake this. If my grandmother like fell down 2 stairs, she'd probably be in the hospital. They somehow took this woman and power bombed her through 2 tables off of like a 10-foot drop. And somehow that didn't kill her immediately. I'm sure it didn't help with, long-term effects, but I'm sure she woke up with a sore back in the morning.
Mae Young built different.
Just a different type of grind. And you know what I mean? It's like, say what you want about Vince McMahon, but when he wants to see something, he sees it. He gets it done.
Yeah.
But
Shane also looks, I'm looking now, he looks completely different than he did in the early 2000s. Damn. Like he's clearly
20 years ago.
Huh?
That's 20. That's the thing. Like he's been doing this shit for like 25 years.
Like he's so much bigger.
Thrown off of a Hell in a Cell.
Face.
Yeah. He's older. That's what happens when you get old. That's why athletes retire eventually. It's just a strange family business.
Yeah. My only honorable mention would have been Paul Bearer. I think he's such a good
big time
accessory.
Yeah, I said him. I said Jeff Hardy was cool. Godfather was cool. Definitely can't do the Godfather character anymore.
No.
Early Kane, we said. Rey Mysterio Jr., WCW Rey Mysterio Jr. was sick. A little like 5-foot wrestler with a mask. I mean, anyone with a mask is automatically gets a couple bumps up.
Mm-hmm.
But cool. So that's that. We'll post that, put it on the internet. You guys can vote. We'll see how it goes. But anything else real quick before we sign off?
Shout out to, if you have Showtime and you watch Jesus and Mero, shout out to them.
Oh yeah, good call.
They did put the Paul Pierce and Rachel Nichols segment on there. It wasn't like super long, but they did talk about the actual situation for like a good, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 minute segment. So if anyone watches that, they did a quick zoom in on my on my comment. So that was pretty cool. And I had a few people send that to me. So that was pretty cool to see. But yeah, check that out.
Very proud of you. But yeah, we'll put those other episodes in the show notes that we were talking about earlier. And then what do we got? I think we have some guests coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We got some local / national guests coming up. We'll talk some Celtics, hopefully talk some drafts soon too. And we'll go from there. So we'll see you guys next time. Peace.